Chapter 10, Together. The following days quietly slipped by. Slowly, I was getting back on my feet. Petra would occasionally keep me company. Jen took me for a walk a couple of times. And Mark patiently waited for my call. The only exception were his morning and evening messages, wishing me a good day or good night, occasionally asking if I was okay or needed anything. We kept our promise. He didn't push me, and I answered the phone, even if it was just so he could hear my voice. The first day I changed into sports clothes and went to the park was the day I won. I started alone. Halfway through the walk, Mark joined me. He didn't force it, he asked, and I allowed it. After that, things only started moving upward. Mark and I began talking. Slowly, we moved on to more sensitive topics and started building a new rhythm. From the beginning. No rushing. Slowly. I told him about Majana's visit, about our conversation. He told me about the talk he had with her beforehand. She was no longer his housekeeper. They both agreed that the arrangement was no longer appropriate. He recommended her to some acquaintances. After all, she had always been discreet and good at her job. And he gave her severance pay. I was satisfied with that. It was fair to everyone involved. I still didn't like her, nor had I forgiven her, but enough time had passed for me to move on. He didn't have to fire her. He could have kept her. After all, she had worked for him for 20 years. But he chose me. And that gave me a completely new perspective on the situation and his feelings. My trust in him slowly began to return. Not overnight. Not easily. And what I liked most. Jen and he were starting to connect. A quiet respect was growing between them, both professionally and privately. It was already late summer. The days were getting shorter, and the leaves on the trees were slowly changing color. Between Mark and me, everything still wasn't resolved. But we were both trying. For the first time since I came back, all of us had gotten into a car together and gone somewhere. We went to Petra and Andre's place. I sat in the back, leaving the passenger seat to Jen. The atmosphere was pleasant, the conversation too. And the food, that was excellent. Petra had always been a fantastic cook. Andre couldn't exist without his awkward jokes, so there was plenty of laughter. Only after dinner did the tone shift slightly. Things became more serious, still relaxed, but... Well, since we're all at the table and you've switched into business mode. I interrupted Mark and Andre's conversation. I have some news I'd like to share with you. Silence fell. They all turned toward me. I sold the company. I stopped. Waiting for reactions. Petra smiled, we had already talked about it. Andre. I think he suddenly forgot all his jokes. And Mark froze mid-motion. As if he had turned to stone. He put down the fork he was still holding. Looked at Andre. Whom shrugged. Then both of them turned to Petra, who, hidden behind her coffee cup, was still quietly smiling. I let out a loud sigh. Really? Which part confuses you? As I already said, I sold it. Since Jen got a job and I already have a house here, I decided to move back. Mark straightened. His face lit up. His entire posture softened.
Are you serious? You're really staying?
I nodded. He took my hand in his, satisfied. He leaned back. But he didn't let go of my hand. Gently, like it was porcelain, he kept holding it in his palm. For the first time after everything, I let him this close. And he took it. Petra and Andre got up, took a few glasses from the table, and went inside. We were left alone on the terrace. The wind lightly moved the edge of the tablecloth. The evening was warm. Mark still hadn't let go of my hand. He intertwined our fingers and slowly ran his thumb across my palm, leaving a warm, tingling trace on my skin. Something in his gaze hit me. Hope. That quiet, careful kind of hope you don't dare say out loud because you're afraid you'll lose it. I gave a faint smile. Don't exaggerate. I'm not moving in with you. For a split second, he froze, then that familiar smile appeared on his face.
Shame. Would have saved on heating.
I sighed and shook my head. You're impossible.
Just realistic.
He leaned a little closer. And this time, I didn't pull away. The distance between us nearly disappeared. I could feel his warmth, his breath. The evening at Petra's slowly faded into a warm, comfortable calm. No one felt the need to rush off. Still, we all knew it was time to head home. Andre was still explaining something, while Jen answered only half-heartedly now, more out of politeness than genuine attention. Petra, meanwhile, was clearing the table with a faint smile on her face. Mark stood beside me. When Petra finally placed the last glasses into the dishwasher, she turned toward us.
You two are walking home. Right? It'll do you good. You know, to clear your heads a little.
She didn't wait for an answer. She didn't need one, considering she had invented the walk herself. She only gave us a knowing smile. That was her way of saying she'd had enough of us for one evening. Or, less subtly and more honestly, off you go. All of you. Andre disappeared inside after her, while Jen mumbled something about going for a walk to turn his brain off. He had already taken a few steps when Mark stopped him.
Wait. Here. Take the car. Someone has to drive it home.
He reached into his pocket, pulled out the keys to his Maserati and tossed them toward him without hesitation. Jen caught them instinctively and stared at him in disbelief. Jen looked at the keys, then at Mark, and finally at me, a huge grin spreading across his face. I smiled back and nodded.
Wait. Seriously?
It's not going to drive itself. Unless I'm not allowed to walk your mother home. Guess I should probably ask first. I hope you don't mind if your mother and I take a little walk together.
No. Take your time. No need to rush.
Jen said, pretending to sound casual. Still not completely convinced Mark was serious, he turned and headed toward the car.
You're sure?
He checked one last time. He spun the keys around his finger before unlocking the car, visibly proud, and sliding into the driver's seat with a deep breath. For a few seconds, he simply sat there admiring the interior. Then he finally pressed the button and started the engine. We walked in silence. The city streets were quiet, lit by the soft glow of streetlights. People strolled calmly past us. It was that part of the evening when no one seemed to be in a hurry anymore. A breeze drifted through the street. Not strong. Just enough to leave a faint chill as it passed. Mark lifted his arm and carefully wrapped it around my shoulders. I didn't pull away. His hand stayed there. Calm and warm, like support. Like an invisible shield against danger. Our path led us past a line of trees where the light filtered through the branches, painting soft patterns along the ground. All the way to the lake. The sun had started to sink. It looked as if it would disappear into the pond at any moment. The sky turned soft shades of orange and violet, while the water mirrored them, as though trying to hold on to them a little longer. The atmosphere was perfect. All we could hear was the gentle sound of water, the occasional croaking of frogs, and the flutter of birds somewhere in the distance. We sat down on the wooden bench not far from our houses. Quietly, we watched and listened to the sounds of nature. Slowly, he wrapped his arm around my shoulders and gently pulled me closer. I leaned into him. Without thinking. The moment felt right.